could put that up, because I have a little switcher here.
Yeah, it's Michael Stephen Smith with a V, StephenWithAV.com.
Okay, let me do that.
And we also have a website for our radio show, Law and Disorder, and that's lawanddisorder.org.
.org. Okay. Let me get that up, and then maybe you can kind of speak about what you thought about the panel.
Sure.
You know, because it was a real honor to be there videotaping it.
Oh,
it
well,
really
it was an honor to have you there, and we're glad that you did it, because now we can get it out on the internet, and instead of going out into the air to the 50, 60, 150 people or so that were there, now it goes out to many more. So it was great that we were able to do that for us. You're much more high-tech than me and my friends on the panel.
Yeah, well, that's just sort of the happening thing these days, and there's a lot of people that do it better than others, because you also have to kind of blog it up. You know, you make comments on it, and then you have other people comment, and sometimes you become offended because somebody's not agreeing with you, but then you persist on and you find out that sometimes those that don't agree are the ones that are most constructive about your viewpoint.
Yeah, exactly. And to get this information out there, because it's not part of the dialogue in the establishment press, is very important for us. On both the panels that I did, one on the laws and practices taken together since 9/11, what the Bush people have done is really constructed what you'd call a police state, that there's really unbridled executive power, and that guy's the commander-in-chief. And then the other, of course, on torture, which is unprecedented for them to admit that they're using it and insist that they want to keep using it. And the two kind of fit together. We were very grateful for the amount of interest that people at the Left Forum showed, and especially for you in taping it and now getting it out to even wider audience, go around the world.
Yesterday I had as a guest Webster Tarpley. Do you know who he is?
No.
He's somebody who wrote a book called 9/11 Synthetic Terror Made in USA, and he talks a lot about false flag operations. What I was interested in was on the torture panel. They were saying that it wasn't the damage done to the body that's so great, but it's the psychological damage.
Yeah, that was the genius of the American discoveries. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars, as Professor Alfred McCoy from Wisconsin, who was on the panel, has documented in his book, A Question of Torture. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars at some of the top universities around the country and McGill in Canada, and they came out with what you could call markless torture. It leaves no signs that they've been tortured, and essentially they can break down the human mind in 48 hours with a combination of sensory deprivation and sensory overload. And you see the disintegration of a human personality never to be repaired, and that's what they've accomplished, and that's the kind of practices they use in Guantanamo and in Bagram, and actually in many of the domestic prisons around the country, in these maxi-max prisons where people are kept in cells isolated from any human contact for months and years on end.
Where do you get the fortitude to keep going forward with such grim topics?
You know, I know it on our radio show. The two topics that we cover most are torture and slavery, and we were joking we should call it the happy hour. You just have to keep fighting. Part of the gratification is in the comrades you make along the way, and there's no other thing to do. And I think there's some value in fighting, even if you don't immediately win. Eventually you do. We had Adam Hochschild on, who wrote a book on the end of the slave trade in England, and he pointed out that it was a handful of men that met in a tavern when the slave trade was central to the British economy, and 50 years later they got it outlawed. So you got to start somewhere, and that's what we've got to do today. I think even though people aren't aware of their own self-interest because of the system and the propaganda, you got to try to make them aware of it. And we're the majority, and once we can do that, maybe we can prevail. You got to try.
Because you were talking about after the torture, they can never be, healed again. Mine is a spiritual show, and I was particularly doing Tantra, which is about the Divine Mother and about the 5 elements, and particularly about healing. I went to India to try to understand how Jesus did the healing. Now, I know that some people don't even, there's also academics that don't even believe there was such a thing as an historical Jesus. But the healings throughout the ages have happened, and I would say that whenever I hear nobody can recover, I always question that, and I sense that you, because I watched you for quite a few hours, you have a sort of an innate optimism. So don't you think that we can be healed?
Well, Gramsci, the great Italian revolutionary, put it this way, said, you have to have pessimism of the mind, but optimism of the heart. And I think that's what keeps people in the movement going.
Right.
Certainly me.
And now I see you've got on your website Harvey Goldberg.
Yes. He was my history professor, the great historian of social revolution at Wisconsin in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. He trained about 93 PhDs and 25,000 students. He was so popular. He was such a magnificent lecturer, you couldn't get into his classroom. I remember the day he got there in 1963, and it wasn't but a year later that there was no classroom big enough on the campus to hold him. They held his lectures out in the agriculture hall, and that sat 600, and some days they'd have to get the police to clear it out because more than 600 people would come just to listen to him. We've put those lectures up on the Breck Forum website, Breck, BRECHT.org, Breck Forum. There are about 5 lectures of his up there. Your audience can listen to it and see what I'm talking about. He was just amazing. Why did you ask me about him? Did you know about him?
No, it's just that the nature of your website and the whole way you conduct yourself seems to be optimistic, and yet the topics are very grim. Like, there was one question that they asked at the torture panel that I guess there wasn't enough time to address, and the lady had said, how come the left, liberal side, never seems to address the mind control, the MK Ultra and so on, that the conservative right seemed to, at least some years ago. And I know for myself, this was another reason I had gone to India, to try to understand how to do very deep healings. So I was wondering if you had anything to say about the mind control.
Well, I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but from my standpoint, the ideas of the people in power, Karl Marx said it best. He said the ideology of the ruling class is the ruling ideology, and the whole culture is permeated by what's in the interest of the very few on the top. And if you mean mind control by that, where people are essentially born and bred in a system that's not in their interest, but they don't learn about any alternative, that in a sense governs them, and that's what people like me try to expose and organize against.
Have you ever considered that 9/11 may not have been what we've heard, with the media, and that it might be kind of a kingpin to understanding the newer realities that we all seem to want, whether we're coming from the New Age or whether we're political?
Well, I think it's moral enough condemnation of Cheney and Bush and the rest of them to say that they may have had an inkling that something was happening. I think that's clear that they knew that something was happening. And they didn't do anything about it to stop it because they knew they could use it the same way, say, the bombing of Pearl Harbor was used to get the United States involved in the Second World War. I think that's moral condemnation enough without having to go to the further step by saying that they organized it. I don't believe they organized it. I believe that it was done by people, mostly from Saudi Arabia. 15 of the 19 hijackers were Saudis. It had nothing to do with Iraq, nothing to do with Saddam Hussein. But I think they used it for the whole neoconservative program, which you find in the Project for New American Century, where they come out and say in that statement, and that's the think tank of the people in the Bush administration, and they say what we need is a new Pearl Harbor. And sure enough, they got it. They handed it to them on a silver platter. They were able to launch their war against Iraq and also Afghanistan for the purpose of controlling the oil and gas resources in both those regions, and thereby controlling the development in the future of the world economy. China, India, emerging nations need those carbon resources, and the United States wanted to control it. And after they were able to defeat the Soviet Union in '91, they're the unitary power, the world superpower, and they were able to do that. There was no resistance to their invading Iraq. So I think it's enough to say that this was part of the quite sophisticated plan of the people that own and run this country, which we would call a ruling class, or at least a significant section of the ruling class, to consolidate their power even further worldwide. And I think that's the basic understanding that people need to absorb so they can figure out what to do about it.
Again, like I say, when I went to India to try to understand how Jesus did the healings, sometimes for very bad diseases, you need a very bitter kind of medicine. And although it's not a pleasant topic to think about, 9/11, I think that we can learn a lot from it, and that we haven't really understood how it happened, because some of the premises that you were assuming were correct, maybe not correct. And if you don't mind, I would like to post this and see if you would be open to some of the feedback and the comments, and if we can continue in a dialogue.
Well, I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Well, thanks for having me on your show, Paul, and keep up the good work.
Okay, thanks a lot. And I'll call you back after I finish the stream, okay? And we'll arrange a time that I can get the DVDs to you.
You take it easy. Thanks a lot.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
So there you go. If I think Harold? Hello?
Yeah, hello,
sorry.
I'm here.
Sorry, I had that call with Michael Smith, so I
He's a
didn't
great
want-
guy. I know him real well. He's a good guy, the Brecht Forum.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be delivering some DVDs, and I'll put this up and see what people have to comment on, regarding the hijackers and so on.
Yeah, you were playing that film on Rabbit Hole. It was good. Yeah, he's the Brecht Forum. They got equipment down there from MNN. They set up a video thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's good. The Brecht Forum is great. They got the Wolf, Mr. Wolf, and his son Max Wolf, Richard Wolf, and they can. And I know the person who founded that or got that started. The Brecht Forum is an important place for intellectual stuff, and they've got equipment now from MNN grant to set up a little mini studio they've got, or a mini situation, and that's good. So a million flowers bloom.
Well,
Beth, and that's where the guy lived who had that machine.
Right.
You know West Beth, Terry?
No, I don't. I'm just.
Okay.
I'm kind of interested and excited about platforms where people can put forth ideas and then dynamically move forth and develop the body of knowledge. So
Yeah.
I thought I'd put that out. I'll post this, what I just gathered, see what the comments are, and see if he wants to engage in a future dialogue. Because what I posted today was showing a UFO experiencer that's been a friend of Alan's for a long time, and so when I showed him the computer-generated image going into the World Trade Center, you could sort of feel his shifting on camera.
Well,
it's a thought.
It's interesting. I'll just finish out that thing. The Brecht Forum's around 12th Street over on the river, the Hudson River. It's a very large building complex, and it was set up for artists. And it's mostly with artists, people from the arts. And it's an institution that's been there for quite a while. And they're located, the Brecht Forum's located right on the west side of the building. And it's a really good organization. They have a lot of programs going on there. Anyway, enough of that.
That's great.
But Smith is really a good guy. He was an associate of William Kunstler.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah, they wrote on the police state. And William Kunstler was an angel.
Exactly. That would be this book.
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I have to get on the stream. I'm not there. I was doing some other stuff. Well, no, that's the emerging police state, right? You got it. Yeah, William Kunstler was really good, and then it's carried on with people like Lynn Stewart and Smith. He's a lawyer. Yeah, that's right.
Can you hold on a second? Rabbit Hole Central.
Hi, Rabbit Hole.
Hey,
Looks
Joe.
like you're doing a repeat.
Am I doing a repeat?
Looks like it.
No, it wasn't. It was Harold Channer calling up about his birthday. It was on his birthday, and then I rolled it in with that guy, Viv from Venus. That's what that. Any comments about it, whether it was a repeat or not?
No,
This is
only
Joe
that
friendly, by the way.
I showed up at M&N.
Oh, and you weren't there, and I wasn't there. Yeah, I got my
It didn't
stuff
sound
done
like a
soon.
good risk, I guess. I'm going to talk on the phone.
Okay, talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye. Harold?
Yeah, that was good to go.
I was going to be streaming from M&N today, but I finished up my stuff so early I got back, and it's sort of easier for me to conduct myself here.
Yeah, you're doing wonderful. You're just like NBC. I mean, there you got everything at your desktop, and that's a great model. You ought to do you know what you should do sometime in the interest is do a little show where you just show what you're doing there in your apartment, and say, this is the thing that you need to do that. Show the camera, show the this.
Oh, well.
I'm mixing this and that. And
I can do that.
And you might be able to have that as an instruction video, keeping it simple, because you're very good at keeping to the straightforward explanation without a lot of gobbledygook. And then just
Like
let
this,
people
right?
know what you're doing, because there might be others who have the very same things in their apartment and just don't quite know how to put them all together in the same way that you've so effectively done.
Okay, watch me now. So this camera...
Well, you're going to do it. Good for you.
Okay.
I said you should do it, and you do it. You
Okay,
see?
so-
That's really good.
Ladies and gentlemen, this camera that... Okay, what you're looking at me right now, and what I'm going to do is, you're looking at me because of this camera.
Yeah, now you have
see?
that plugged into what is called a mixer, right?
Right, and then it goes... The wires go here. There's the telephone. Harold's on the phone right now.
Right.
And then here is the mixer.
Yeah, and
so,
that's the central thing, I guess,
so
because
this
all
mixer-
your feeds come in and
So
out
see?
of that mixer, right?
So see, as I go like this, it
Uh-huh.
mixes like that. Oh, this is what I had yesterday because people were complaining that they couldn't hear, and sometimes you just have to hit refresh on the stream. Now the stream is going out through this laptop. It's a PC. I found out that a PC worked much better for Flash.
Than a Macintosh.
Yeah, and the Macintosh is over here, and what I do is I pick up images like you. That's how I can get...
On your Mac. That's good. You can incorporate both computers then
so
into your
here's-
thing. So that, let's
See?
just walk through it a second.
See?
That, let's say that Macintosh you're using to pick up things, that is plugged into the mixer, right?
Yeah, you're here at camera 2. I think
Okay.
right there. So when I push this lever up, we get you, and we get you because of this, because I have you on this one.
Yeah,
And
so
then-
that computer is linked in the
And then it goes through-
Ethernet or whatever to the internet.
And then it goes through this. This is a PC to video component.
Okay, wait a minute. Go, if I may, just thinking in terms of the way people might be thinking. That's a little device I have also.
Well, in other words, to get this computer,
Yes.
which is really a tiny Mac Mini over there, it's not much at all.
Yeah,
but
but
to
it
get-
works to pick up
but
the
to get-
internet.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
to get-
good. Yeah.
To get this into the mixer here...
Yeah, it goes into the mixer first. Okay. How many inputs?
No. It has to go through here. You
It
can't.
does. Why?
You cannot plug a computer wire directly into the mixer. Won't work.
I see.
You know this, Harold. You got me to buy this thing. It
Oh,
was
I know that, but
about
I'm trying to
100.
understand. I see. Oh, okay, right. So that's the
And
thing
then
that
this-
translates the. That's called a PC to DV mixer or a converter or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
and then that yellow one is a video out.
Yeah.
And then that video signal only goes into the mixer here.
Yeah, that video signal only because you have your sound going through a different system.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's here. One of these
How
is
many inputs are there to your mixer?
4.
There are 4, the
Yeah,
same as on that ancient one
these
that I
are
have
S
here.
video. These are S video.
so,
And this is in, and then it goes out. And then over here, I have it go out. One of them goes to my monitor, the television set here.
Wait a minute. Just slow down a second, please. You got 4 inputs to the mixer, and they do have on mine. You have both audio and video on both video and audio, one might say, into the mixer that can be brought up.
These are in.
Another one that is just video only. Is that the way it is?
It's this PC device can only bring out video.
Right.
So what I do is I pick up the audio through the mics, and here's.
So you have the out from the Macintosh into your audio mixer for the audio.
Yeah, my audio comes out over these speakers. Let's see, where's my those speakers. The audio comes out from the computer, and it picks up through just anything in the room is picked up here. Through these lavs.
I see, and so yeah, that's it. And then so you got the audio mixing there, and then it goes into the mixer. When you push 1, you get camera 1, and you have the sound, but you'll be able to have the sound also connected coming that way. So no,
Yeah.
The sound is just how many sound inputs are there?
I only have one. Here they are here. This is coming out of the camera. That's here. It's all going out of this camera. Right here.
I see. Yeah,
so
that's
the
your
audio,
standard
the
two-shot
audio
or
comes
one-shot.
out. The audio comes out here, and then I split it. Here you can see this is split, and the reason I split it is I want part of it to go into this box that takes an analog signal, and it turns it into digital on this side, and this digital signal is what's going eventually into the laptop in order to stream it. And the other one goes into this switcher with the audio split up, and it goes directly into my record deck over there.
That goes into your record deck, so you can record things on a mini DV system.
Yeah, so I can both stream it out and record. This would be recording it for later use.
Yeah, right. That's really good. So that's what you've got, and so let's see. You've got a mixer. Did you get the mixer at B&H, say, or
Molly,
maybe you could give the audience some idea
Molly bought it, so I
the
don't
date
know.
that is, how expensive it is. Maybe you could address cost a little bit without going into detail. But that mixer, which is central to getting input from various sources, is central to what you're doing in a way.
Right.
Did you get that at audio? Are they available at B&H? Are they available on eBay or something?
See what I'm doing
I had a
here?
fellow here, if I may, at the meeting, a Chinese fellow, and he was saying, so how do I get something set up? I've got a very simple system here, as you know. And he said, how much exactly, what do I need to get it so I could do a program and do it and everything? And he said, so would it be like $100,000? Would it be $10,000? Would it be $2,000? Would it, that kind of thing. So it's put it in the picture how somebody.
Do you want me to answer your question?
Yes.
It's really simple.
Okay.
You just need these cameras here. They could be as cheap as you could do it with built-in mics. You don't need these external mics. So you could do it for well, here, let me show you. See this one that I'm holding? This is
You're holding, yes.
This is only about $300. Or you could go like on eBay and get the used Canons. I like those because they have a lot more features. But then you had trouble with those, right?
Well, I happen to have, but that was probably my fault too. But anyway, yeah. So you can get them. So you're saying that would be out of the box $300 for a camcorder.
Yeah. Then this laptop, I just got one up until the 29th. You can get these for $399 at Radio Shack. They're having a special.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. To get the what, dear?
Laptop.
The laptop, and you like that much better for streaming than you would a Macintosh.
Well, the PC, I had a lot of trouble with making this stream work that John Kowalski got.
Yeah.
But then maybe
I've heard that from other people too who've tried to do it. Like the Yippie Museum, they were trying to do it. They thought the PC was better than a Macintosh.
Yeah, so this is an Acer. And like I say, you can
Brand
get
name, I'm sorry?
Acer.
Yeah, what's an Acer? You mean that's the name of the laptop?
That's what I'm showing, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not like a Sony or a Panasonic. It's an Acer. That's a brand name.
Yeah, Harold.
Okay, I didn't know. I've never heard Acer. I've never heard of that.
I know.
But you say you were able to get that for about $300. You could get the cameras. Let's say you wanted a 2 or 3 camera mix, and you could get it off eBay.
Oh, look it! I probably cut the stream off.
It seems to be locked on a picture of Acer.
Yeah, because when I closed it to show you the brand name, I lost the stream. So, what I'm going to do now is reconnect.
Okay.
There you go. You should be having it on again. Oops.
Yeah, it's up now. Yeah, you're able to do that. So just to go through, and if we were to, like pattern recognition, they could set up something like what you've got for maybe...
Oh, you know what? I have a really cheap way to do it. Let me show you.
Yeah, okay.
Here, let me show you here.
Uh-huh.
See this? This is $20 from Radio Shack.
Okay.
And what you do is you put the inputs here in the back.
Now, what is that? Are you $20 Radio Shack or something?
It's the most primitive switcher. You don't get the fade-ins. You know, you can't do the split screen like this.
Right.
It'll
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
It'll be click click like that.
Yeah.
You know. But what you do is you take all these wires like here in the back that are plugging in. It's the same thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Except this is only $20.
That's $20, and you can switch sources, right? How many inputs on that?
1, 2, 3, 4, and then
Or
one,
again, and then an out.
and an out.
Well, that's pretty good. That lowers it considerably because
Yeah.
a lot of people don't need your fancy schmancy,
Yeah, see, you
keys
just
and things.
see what they have it is for the home entertainment center, so you
Yes,
can.
I
switch
have
it
one
on.
of those that I use to switch between television and when you're working online.
Yeah.
And I have a little. I don't trust it so much because it gets a little bit wonky sometimes. But that's interesting, and that's a way instead of that mixer. So if you do that, then you're back to where somebody could be doing something. Say you get, say, 150 per camera. You get 3 cameras for 450, 550, and that little box that lets you go from PC to video that you use. That's about $100,
Uh-huh.
and that puts you into the Skype world and that. And then if you can have you've got it to where you got a second computer for input, and then your audio cables and whatnot. So it could be you could be in business, and then you'd have to get the kind of thing if you're talking about streaming like you're doing. You could be in business for under $1,000.
Right.
Somebody could be setting that up in their apartment and be streaming.
That's all I want to talk about it, Harold. I'm getting board.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, but that was a service to people.
Yeah, I know.
To be thinking about that very thing, and congratulations
Exactly.
on being on the cutting edge of doing all that. I think that's really good, and I think it's a harbinger. There are going to be lots of people around the planet doing that sort of thing and communicating with one another, and Rabbit Hole Central, as usual, is setting the pace.
Okay.
Okay, so that's
thanks,
really
Harold.
good.
Thanks.
We're going to be going over to Brooklyn today. Laverne Grittens has an all-women show she's part of. I want to go visit with her. And then I wouldn't want to forget, I don't know if you've been able to figure about Sunday, but that fellow's here in town, that Michael Horowitz.
Oh, yeah, I want to go with you for that.
Oh, well, that's grand if
Yeah.
you can. I'm going to be going early because also my friend...
Let's tell the viewers, okay? It's 3 o'clock, Sunday, March 30th. And where was the location?
It's the Bowery Poetry Club.
Okay.
You've got a site and everything. But I think it's 303 Bowery, but it's a real poet there named Mikhail Horowitz, and and there's a couple of other people from upstate going to be there from 3. They're scheduled from 3 to 4:45. And I got another friend of mine who's just put out some of Mikhail's work. And he just put out a couple thousand DVDs that he put together, a semi-professional fellow. Somebody you might have met at the Thanksgiving time, Charles Fernandez.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, yeah, that's where it is. Michael and others, they're going to be there. So I'm going to go there. I want to get down there maybe by 1 o'clock, maybe by 2 o'clock.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, we'll talk later. I'm
Okay.
going to be out in the afternoon to see Laverne, and then maybe talk to you later tonight.
Okay. Here we get back to the level of knowledge. We don't know the person down the street that's homeless, and we don't want to know him because it's scary.
Oh, it's scary because they think there's no solution, but bioeconomics provides a solution.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Oh, it isn't a big idea.
One of the things that bioeconomics does is it provides people a logic that says everybody can flourish playing by the rules.
Yeah.
And that is a wonderful recognition.
It certainly is. And then that unutilized capability you always talk about could be much more vastly brought to good, particularly with all the ecologically appropriate patterns and so on. We might be able to afford a elementally just and well operating system.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go down to St. Mark's.
It relates to the large capability that is emerging from the technological development. Yeah.
But I'm still anxious, both of you guys, to take the step into implementing. So I'm going to go to St. Mark's and see if I can do a talk on nonviolent communication or propose about binary economics. Maybe I can show one of the shows that I put up on YouTube and at least start. I mean, even to bring this fellow here yesterday is already a beginning, because he said that the homeless organizations aren't really taking care of the homeless. WBAI always have people speak for them. They have to go through institutions that he says are not accurate about their plight and condition. So this way we can start with huge unutilized talent.
Yes, that's maybe the biggest unutilized capability yet, but there are signs of hope, and one of them is up there at Syracuse University, if I may suggest.
Yes.
We're going to try to put a lot more of this. We got a lot of programs with you from over the years, and we're going to try and get a lot of those up on the web, because that's like curriculum up there now. I see it as like curriculum.
Paul, I want to close with you by saying, first of all, thank you for all the wonderful things you do.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm so excited. I feel like, at one time I had $5 million, but you know what I didn't have? I didn't have this knowledge, So maybe with my experience, I can sort of utilize to the best that I can whatever it is I have and help to make something happen. So I can't...
Doing that, dear. You're doing it very well.
One of my students said she saw me on your program, and I don't advertise that, so that's interesting.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, let's see what happens at St. Mark's, and I will get this up, Robert, and I'll send you the link, and then I'll see you on Sunday at 3 o'clock.
That sounds wonderful. By the way, if you go to cdfreedom.com, and type in my name, you'll hear my music.
Oh,
Music
okay.
is there, and I've got some CDs for you, dear.
Okay.
You can have about me. He's very passionate.
You'll hear my sweet music.
Okay.
I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to him on that, but he's almost as passionate on that as he is for binary economics. So that's another side of
If music gets famous, then I'll be able to peddle binary economics.
There you go. Which is going to come first? We're not sure, but whatever it is, he's going to be on the map. And great to talk to you, Bob. Great to talk to you. We'll be in touch.
Yes. Take care. Bye.
You're doing that. I'm really glad you're doing that outreach educational thing with her on Sundays. I think that's great. That's really good. You're talking to citizens, and that's really good, Bob.
Yeah, she's great.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, good to talk to you all. I'll be in touch with you maybe later in the day even, Paul.
Okay.
We have to get maybe I can give